Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with a couple of guys, Mike Carroll and Bill Englehardt. Mike, we call him the Great One. Did I get that right? The Great One. Is that how I'm
Well,
supposed to say
great or greatest one sometimes
it?
works.
You put a lot of uh, you dice up a lot of carrots and cheese on your salad. You
Well,
grate them.
Bill's the one guy that calls me the great one, and he based it on Jackie Gleason.
Well, it's
Right.
And away we go.
And away we go. Fat.
that's the only way we could get Mike on the show is to agree to call him. I'm reading from the script here. You must call me the Great One
Or the greatest one.
or the Greatest One. Then we got Bill, and Bill. From what I understand,
Bill's the
Mike,
best. Bill's the best one.
from what I understand, Mike made Bill what he is today, unemployed.
I did. I did. I point out he had
It
been
helped a lot.
I point out he hadn't been in school for 3 years, and
Yeah.
they had not missed him.
It helped a lot. It really did.
Now I'm reading from the
Interviewed,
script that Mike also, aside from being a attorney, judge, and land developer and member of that what's the Genius Society?
Mensa,
Mensa.
or Mike's.
He also sings and dance, and he's very funny. He gets a lot of laughs, mostly when people see him singing and dancing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can bring the house down when I do my Irish River dance. I have Maureen. I break into it with Maureen Burgess, and she falls on the floor. She's laughing so hard she can't breathe.
So we've got lots of big news coming up in the past week. I did post on our social media that we have an update on Cronus. They had their EPA permit approved, or maybe approved again. So at least it indicates that they are still working toward that project, still spending money, and we'll have an update in the paper next week on that. But the big news has been this big train that came through town.
Big boy.
I went over to Villa Grove, and I'll bet there were several thousand people in Villa Grove Monday night. I couldn't get out of Villa Grove for 30 minutes. I thought I'll be smart. I'll take the back way out. Well, the back way was clogged too, and they were busting Amish in for it. I saw several people from Marcola. Saw some Tuscola people. People came up. People were friendly. It was a festival atmosphere. People came up, started conversations. There were people from 45, 50, 60 miles away that came to Villa Grove to see it. And so it's pretty cool. Then
It was special. I sat on a country road at one of the crossroads, and there were a lot of people out there. That's just east of Tuscola.
What was your big mistake? You went out without food and coffee
That's true.
and sat
Yeah.
there for hours.
I did sit there for quite a while.
I went out in the country, and every crossing out in the country had probably a dozen cars for it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So you got this big steam engine coming through Tuscola. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the same steam engine.
Oh no, that's that little boy. That's little boy.
Yeah, that's back in the old days.
Yeah,
This was I found this just this week in our pictures.
Mhm.
How timely. This is in the 1950s
Yeah.
when a steam engine came through. Of course, they're probably still using them in the 1950s.
I think they quit using them in the early 50s, like 53, 54.
So you can see over on the right the Fullerton grain elevator. You can see the old depot. Those are both
Depot.
gone. And then over on the left, that building is still there, but it's only one story now.
Mhm.
So this scene has changed some, but there's a steam engine going through Tuscola. Oh, now this is out by West Ridge. There's the big boy.
There's the big boy.
Mhm.
I had to, yeah, there's one other picture. I just thought that was timely on
Well,
It
there's
is.
a tie tower.
but let me, gosh darn it, I keep hitting the wrong button. Let me see if I can find. I had some other pictures queued up.
I gotta get it back now.
Well,
There it is.
Trying to get it bigger.
let me check my. Get rid of this one.
Hey, by the way, wanted to give a shout out to our old friend Bob Taylor, who watches this show faithfully. And
Booby?
yep, Booby had some health issues, so
Yeah, we mentioned it last week a little bit
Glad-
that
yeah.
we talked about how you, we joked about how you show up
Mhm.
with chest pain problems and they say, oh, it's probably okay, go home.
Yeah.
I've always been told that if you want to get checked, you got to show up in the emergency room. You got to grab your chest. I have crushing chest pains, even if you don't. That way they'll actually take you seriously.
Well, at the same time, we're thinking of
Always,
Bob, we're thinking of his grandson,
Yeah.
Dylan,
Yeah.
and our best to both of them.
Yeah. So
And
Bob,
to Heather too,
I just saw Bob
Dylan's mom.
just waved at Bob this morning.
Did you?
I think he's doing fine.
Yeah, I think Bob is. And I'm
Good.
glad.
We're all there now. You get to a certain age, Dave, and you go to the doctor if you get a hiccup. Okay.
Oh, back to the train. That's a good picture, David.
Well, I
that
wanted to
you-
show off my train pictures.
Good.
So this was out at West Ridge. And
That's a great picture. That baby was moving too.
Were you up on a hill or up on top of the truck? Where were you standing?
I'll show you where I was in a second, in a minute.
I didn't know
I
we
get-
had a place that tall in Douglas County.
Yeah, I got
Mount
got
Westridge.
a cool picture going. Yeah, West Ridge. There's where I am.
Oh, no wonder.
David, that looks dangerous, just personally between me and you.
I'm on top of a grain elevator.
Well, you have on Converse tennis shoes. That can't be all
did
bad.
you get permission or was that a criminal trespass?
I had permission.
I don't think Bill and I can make it up there, could we?
Is that one? No, we couldn't. Is that one of Dan's grain bins?
Well, I don't want to alert OSHA as to
Oh,
who's-
That's one of your classmates, so we don't want to get Dan Meyer in trouble.
Yeah.
So we want to mention his name on air.
Well, we were up there checking for leaks on the
Checking
grain
the
bin. I
moisture.
just happened to have my camera with me.
Yeah, that's good.
You were checking moisture content. It's
You've
about 14. It's about right.
You've always been kind of farmer
You have been.
oriented,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Clodbuster is what I always heard they called him.
Mm-hmm.
Or Clod. Was it Clod or
It
Clodbuster?
might have been both.
Just
Nickname. Nicknames. So you were Harlan in high school. Well, look, I sucked him into it. I
Yeah.
planted a trap and he went right down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
You ever heard that before?
Yeah,
What-
I'm
were your nicknames?
I'm still Harlan.
What were
I'm
your
just,
nicknames?
that is my first name. That's been a closely kept secret. I've always gone by my middle name, David.
Well, we
But
won't say it on the air then, Harlan.
in high school, I got called to the office, and apparently the office staff didn't know who I was, so they paged Harlan Porter over the loudspeaker. And so now everybody knew my first name.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my classmates, my closest classmates anyway, they call me Harlan.
Yeah, I talked to Duff Hole. Duff says, well, have you talked to Harlan today? I said, Harlan who?
Yeah. Yeah. My close classmates call me Harlan. And so
Bill had, I had a lot of nicknames, but did you have any nicknames besides, I know it's not a nickname, but
it's not a nickname, it's my name.
Yeah.
but did you have any other nicknames besides Harlan?
None whatsoever.
Again, I'm getting a rabbit hole. I'm going to rabbit
Oh,
hole.
that rabbit hole thing.
I'm gonna wrap-
That's come
Not
up.
that I can share on air.
Well, Bill was called Bull Dingo. That looks like some Coca-Cola advertising.
Well, I wanted to show off Ainsley's work here.
She's good, by the way. She's really good.
Very good. And Ainsley did a lot of research and went back, got in contact with Coca-Cola Company, got the original specifications from the 20s. Got an old picture. So I took this off of Flesor's wall. This was how it looked back in the day. And if you just imagine it in color, it's almost identical.
Go
I don't
back there. I think I saw Bill.
I don't think that trademark was on it, but that's something that Coke probably requires. But so it's a little different from what it's been in recent years. But they also Ainsley also got the correct colors to from Coca-Cola. So it's brighter now. It's just really looks good. And this is
Well, that's hard to paint. That's hard to paint on brick. That really rough, uneven texture. That's really hard.
is.
She did a great job.
And so if you look at this is how that's what it looked like when these guys were standing there. You see
Yeah.
the old black and white photo, but that's actually a very colorful background behind them.
Yeah.
And
You know,
I'm
the trouble
trying-
with black and white photos, it doesn't show all the color, Bill.
yeah, that's the trouble.
Look at those guys there.
Oh, yeah. the
That's a great
characters.
Tuscola photo.
That is, and that's on the wall at Flesor, so
Good
You-
job, Ainsley.
you can see that picture there. Okay, so anyway, we got a lot of pictures to get through.
Well,
So
we're the guys to just do it.
let's get to it.
We're batting about 95%. Is that a Haney?
And that, no.
Okay. That's 56, 57, 58, 59.
This is, yeah, before.
Now I did have some leftover pictures from last week. This is one of those that were from that
59.
time period, but then I've got some more recent pictures too.
Okay,
We usually don't eat leftovers.
no, but we
Yeah, I
will.
didn't have any names on this one.
No, she looks familiar. Cute as a button. That
Whoa.
was the invasion when Russia invaded South Tuscola. That was our guard.
Let's
Let's
try
see.
to see who some of the boys are.
Well, we should know some of them.
Mhm.
Lloyd Holmes looks like one of them. On the
They've got
right.
on their
Is that
steel pots.
now, come on, we know the second guy.
It just doesn't look recognizable.
Now, Eric Alexander says this is Klaatu and Gort emerged from the alien spaceship on the National Mall.
Yeah, Klaatu.
And that's I think that's pretty accurate. That's
They were shooting up at the they actually tried to shoot this metal monster, which is really stupid. Then he ray gunned him. Remember Michael Rennie?
Yeah.
Brian Henningsen says he thinks Memorial Day 1955, but he'll go with Alexander's instead. So that's probably about right. This is probably about 1955, 55 or 56.
VFW.
There's
Well, I
Phil
see
White.
Phil White.
And there's who was working with Phil there?
But if that's Phil White, is this in the old Journal building?
Well, it
Yeah,
looks
an
like
egg.
Looks like Bob Hastings' building in the back, doesn't it? Is that Phil? Are we
That's-
right on that?
That's not the review building. It does have a casement window like the review, but if this was,
That's
but there's
Well-
two casement windows. This is in somebody's basement.
Well,
And
he's
there's,
got a block. Yes, a basement's got a block building. We're gonna retract Phil White. We're not
well,
sure.
look at this. These are eggs.
Will this be McQueen's? Is that Elra McQueen? Go back over to the right.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking
E-Ray?
that's not, once it got up close,
Go
that's
right.
not Phil.
Keep going a little bit.
E-Ray,
E-Ray
I
McQueen.
say.
E-Ray McQueen.
That's not Phil White then.
No,
You know what? Now Bob Taylor
would
will
know.
call Ronnie McQueen and Ronnie
Yeah.
McQueen will identify that picture
Yeah, Ronnie was that the green building on the south
on the south,
side of the railroad
Yeah.
tracks on
north of the.
east
Scout
south
Building.
central? There
Yeah.
used to be a green building that had eggs there, crossing the ice house.
E-Ray McQueen.
E-Ray McQueen, Ronnie's granddad.
Grandpa,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
the
Queen's
building, the building where the veterinarian office is now used to be something to do with chickens. I didn't know if it was eggs or,
Could be that too.
and,
Because the building we're thinking of was wood.
I didn't know if it was,
Yeah,
had
that
a
was a
basement or
hatchery.
not.
I think
That was a
Ebro was
ha-
a hatchery.
It was a hatchery. Maybe
Yeah.
they took the eggs down to
I don't know.
Bob Smith's old vet building.
We'll have word on that next week.
Bob Taylor will know that one.
He'll
Well,
find it.
All right, I don't have any help online with it yet, so.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we are.
There's Craig Webb. Third from the left.
You might be right.
I think that's Craig Webb in 1956.
Probably.
Oh, before that. That's before that, Mike.
Was-
Webby
Pictures
graduated.
were from the envelopes that came out of were 56 and 58.
I think it's 56. Well, now wait a minute.
54.
I think it could be
If
Craig.
that's Webby.
Looks like it.
And this looks like in front of the old brick depot.
Looks like Weber.
But it's not, I don't think.
He sure looks like Craig. Now, wait a minute, 56. Craig graduated in 1963, started in 59,
63 or 64, he graduated.
64.
So he would have started school in 52.
No, 60, 64, 60. Yeah, 4 years before. This could be fourth, fifth grade. That could
Could
be
be
him.
third grade.
Could be him.
Yeah, it looked a little young for fourth grade. Another one of the Memorial Day.
Jim on the left. I'll let you can do them if you want.
Well, that's Jim Polig on the left. Far right is Ed Cox.
Second from left is Ronnie Caldwell, Joe Caldwell's brother. Third from left, I think, is Jim Mann, Tom Mann's brother. Lower left is Sybil Ligo. Lower right, not sure.
Let me see if I got,
Cox was a healthy boy.
Yes,
well, you got more, Mike, against the internet. You got more names than all of our internet contributors
Oh, of course.
by one.
well, that's why I got the nickname.
The great one.
The great one.
I still like the greatest one.
But I
Oh,
just
the greatest
named
one.
myself.
Well, you're close. You can have all these.
Oh. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
The lady back there looks familiar.
Well,
Somebody
they all-
was quite the artist. We learned that, and then they drew some
yeah.
faces on the board.
These don't look like Tuscola folks.
Well, we got some pennants over here. What do the pennants say?
Go Newman. Who knows?
I wonder if it's in a church. 'Cause it looks like him. Like maybe it's is that a religious picture on the wall there? I think this is in a
Okay.
church.
Could be the birth of Christ. Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like a Bible. Oh, here we go. It's that Hugo stuff.
It's a
Whatever.
Hugo church, yeah.
Yeah.
Community church. Now that's from last week. That woman on the far right was her teacher. Remember?
Yeah, we never did figure out the church though, did we? Let's go to the next picture, see if we can get this church
Was
nailed.
it Bourbon?
Well, there's a Bourbon Baptist church. I was Santa
This
Claus.
is not Bourbon, no.
I don't think so. There's a 55, looks like a 55 Ford back there. I was Santa Claus over there and I don't remember the steps in on the left like that.
We don't have any names on any of these pictures, so apparently nobody knows them.
That's about a 51 Chevy, 52.
Cute pictures.
Yeah.
Wish we had some names on them.
The girl on the left is a Tuscola girl. And we should know the gal on the right getting the award. Now, we do know her on the left.
Is that stage at North Ford?
Yeah, at the high school.
Only
New
name
County.
here is Artie Sue Flanagan says Linda Albin.
Yes,
That's
Alvin.
Dale's sister.
yeah.
I don't know what that patch is.
That's state of Illinois. It's ag, I think.
AGA.
Hmm.
Oh, another one of these. And another one.
Identify this building.
Well, it's got these little moon windows up there. I'm not familiar with that church though.
Me neither.
Carl Court and Harris. What was her name? Tom Harris's Clayton's sister, Jane.
Nancy.
Nancy Harris
Harris.
with Carl Court.
Look at the size of the band back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the day.
Used to have about a 90 to 100 in the band.
It would take up 2 pages in the,
It got even
Yearbook.
bigger by the time we got in high school.
it was, yeah, it was big. That's a big band.
Well, back behind here looks like National Honor Society.
Now that's in the new, that picture is in the new high school. See the windows at the top of the picture?
Yeah.
That'd been the first year, probably 59, 50,
Something like
58,
that.
9, started in 58.
Wonder what happened to that picture.
Gene Maloney and
Green.
is that Cliff Green, the oldest of the Green boys?
That's a young Gene Maloney.
Yes, it was.
That's what we've got online.
And Cliff Green, oldest of the 3 Green brothers. He went on to become a psychiatrist and worked at the Miniature Foundation, very prestigious place at the time. Then the middle brother, Doug, went on to become a psychiatrist, worked with him. And then the youngest one I played football with, Doug, or Petey, is a PhD in psychology. So they all three, I think they all three were in either the same building or the same practice out in
You know,
Spokane.
we had a very similar situation in our family. Out of the 4 boys, 3 of them are psychotic.
and a PhD, I might add.
Mr. Maloney, at the age of 90, was still throwing the discus and shot put.
Senior Olympics.
Senior
I'm,
Olympics.
I'm the only PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the phone book it's Porter Harlan David,
Yeah.
PhD.
PhD.
That's not quite a pun.
So I spoke one time at a national conference in New York.
Hmm.
I was on a panel for news literacy. There were 5 of us on the panel. 4 of the 5 had PhDs.
Mhm.
So when it was my turn to speak, I said, when I found out who else was on the panel with me, I thought there must be some horrible mistake because they're all PhDs. So I think I figured out what happened. My name is Porter Harlan David, PhD. That's how I got up here.
Yeah. Well, that would explain it.
Yeah, that would explain it.
Kenny Michael.
Kenny Michaels and
Not sure who the young man is.
you have a name?
Artie Sue Flanagan says Jerry Norris.
This was North's son? I suppose.
We're getting who? Artie Flanagan?
Yeah.
Well, we had a ton.
Artie Sue.
We had a ton of Flanagans go through here.
Willie Flanagan.
Phil,
Yeah.
Willie. Oh, on the right now is the middle green. That's Doug Green on the right. He's probably a freshman or sophomore. Over on the left, far left is Carl Court. I should know that the girls are, well, that's Harriet Sluss passing out the awards. Latin teacher. Jerry, that's Jerry, somebody next to Court. Jerry. Oh. You got a name?
Marcy Shoemaker says Center, Juanita Hausman Hayes,
Oh, that's
Hmm.
and Alice Hatchell says Larry Owen, second from left.
Larry Owen. That's Larry Owen. I'm verifying. I'm often a notary public on a lot of these recognitions. I have a stamp.
Now, this was similar to one that we had last
Yeah,
week.
that truck was there. That's state trooper. I don't know what.
That's Rich Lamb's plumbing business. And I don't know when they had Dunn's Drugs there, but I remember Dunn's Drugs
Right.
right inside.
So this is South Main Street. And
Brick and Tree, back before they widened it, when Van Steenhouse was here and they widened it, that was just like the north. It was brick and trees arching over the middle of the road, very small townish.
There's Rayburn Auto is across from the Presbyterian Church on that corner.
And then the old monument place was
Yeah,
there.
the monument.
What was the name
place.
of that monument place?
Reynolds?
No.
No.
I forget.
Can't remember.
There's
This
the,
is everyone standing up cheering for you.
the brand new gym. Yes, I just dunked Bill in the basket. So
this is more recent.
Yeah, because that's Alex Meyer right there.
Mhm.
And it looks like
Jeff.
Scott Harsha in the back.
That's Scott Harsha right up there with the dark hair. Looks like McCarty.
Tag Atkinson.
Looks like Tad. Well,
Tag.
Yeah,
this Andrea Harsha says looks like Ron Wynn Jr. to Scott's right. It's
Junior high kids up in the top. I'm seeing.
a lot of comments on the.
this
on
would be
Facebook.
about, this would be in the 70s or 80s.
Looks like Kelly Williams here in a trucker's hat.
It is.
Somebody have a baby?
Some of these are kind of hard to
It just
tell.
it got just moved at the wrong time, or they were moving, I guess. Pretty hard to get that picture.
Needed a faster shutter speed.
Well, sometimes the negatives when they scan digitally, they're not. You lose a little something.
Hmm.
So you can go. These pictures are on the Remembering Tuscola Facebook page, so people can go and read the comments. Got a lot of comments on that one.
Ooh. Tuscola boys. That's Tom Diltz jumping up in the air.
I was wondering. Yeah.
That's Diltz. I believe he's deceased now.
Is he getting ready to block the shot?
He's,
I was trying to figure out what kind of move he was making.
I don't
there.
know what he was doing.
Is this Jimmy Brookins over here on the right?
Possibly.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Hornets.
That's back when you were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Principal.
this is at the community building. I don't know what the heck's going on there. The kid in the back, the tall one, that might be Jeremy Ross.
Jeremy Ross. Let's see. Marilyn Klein says JJ Donald's in center, leaning over, and Jeff Klein behind him. And let's see, we got some other comments. Brian Moody in the back says, this was, and you may recall this. Remember when the Chicago Bears had the Bears shuffle?
Yeah.
This was the green and gold shuffle.
What was that, 86, 87?
This is in the 90s.
No, it would be in the 80s.
They
Oh,
did, they won the
well,
Super Bowl.
Jeremy graduated from high school in what, 90, 91,
Bears won the Super Bowl in
89?
80,
No.
86.
yeah, because this is junior high. So this, yeah, my pictures. Yeah, I've got some from the 80s, some from the 90s.
I talked to Jeremy the other night at Monticello. His daughter's playing golf now, and his son plays
His son
for
was
Parkland.
his son was a good high school player.
Real good.
Jeremy was about 6'8". There they are.
They made it on Channel 3. They were with their routine.
So I was teaching then.
You might be right there. Are you back there? Anyway,
I'm sitting
far
next
left.
to, that's Sergeant, and there's me, I think.
It looks like Bob Griffith in the middle.
Possibly.
Bill and Bob are a lot alike.
Yeah, we're a lot alike. That is Sergeant on the left.
I think they were pretty well received. They had performed multiple times.
Huh? What was I doing during that time?
You would have been private practice, I believe. Probably playing golf.
I
that
was not
day.
running for office, so there was no need.
Yeah,
to-
you were out playing golf. I was
There was
working,
no need to solicit votes.
trying to make the live. Yeah, and then I had to walk all over Newman, passing out ballot or your picture.
Yeah.
This is the East Prairie Gym.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
And boy, has that changed.
Yeah, there it is, the green and gold shuffle.
Let us guess.
See if anyone put any names.
That's a Wilson boy on the right, holding that. Gosh, what's his name? It's Wilson's his last name. Anyone get that?
No, I didn't have any names on
There's
this.
a hat I've been looking for 30 years.
Yeah, it's left there.
Still there.
So
One time found a hat with dust all over it. I've been looking for 2 years. Nobody wanted it. It just laid there.
the one on the left looks a little like the youngest Pancall boy to me, but maybe not. Can't be sure. There they are again, performing at the community building.
Mr. Flume,
Mm-hmm.
Clarence.
Clarence lived in that little White House catty corner from Catholic Church. I don't know what the plaque's for.
I couldn't get it.
Mm-mm. Don't know her.
Well, she looks familiar to me, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But I had two from those, and nobody's commented on names. So
I don't know. I don't think so. Could be.
This guy looks very familiar.
well, I think this is out of the dog pound,
Really?
and yeah, I don't know what my first clue was, but didn't he run the dog pound?
I'm not for sure if he ran it, but he sure looks familiar.
So Weight Watchers program.
Who do we have on that in this picture?
Well, I didn't have any names, and she looks familiar too, but I'm surprised I didn't have any names. So who knows?
Oh, that's the old 5 and dime, isn't it? Arntz.
I think it is.
Well, one of the pictures that I
There's
had,
the candy.
Wonder if Becky knows what commotion she's creating.
Well, she's finding our program boring. That is 5 and dime.
looks like it.
Well, that's the Cybolt girl, Amy, on the bottom.
Chris McCarty's in the center.
On the right is that Hall.
Not Amy, no. Oh, gosh darn.
Tina.
Oh,
Someone tagged Tina Hall, who's Kestner now, so it could be her. A lot of tags on this one. I don't know if that translates into people in the pictures.
that's Tina on the far left, I think, and I'm looking for oh man, oh man, oh man. That girl right there. I know her, but I can't name her.
Well, Amy Seibold has tagged Tina Hall, Jacqueline Henry, Marcy McCartney, Carrie Purcell, Chris McCartney, Liz Bomer Smith, and Amy Seibold in front, she says.
I was going to say as Elizabeth Spomer, but she's not smiling, so I couldn't tell.
Well, Jacqueline,
No,
Jacqueline
McCartney.
works for the paper now.
Yeah,
Brookins. She married Jimmy Brookins.
yeah.
I'll have to show it to Jacqueline.
It's a Methodist church. There you go.
Let's see, we got some names on this one too. Might be Anita Roller in the front on the far right.
My phone's up.
Who?
Anita Roller, maybe.
Well, rollers are Newman.
And let's see. Amy Seibold says, I see the Hedinger girls, Marissa McCumber, Amy Hall.
Marissa's the middle lower. I don't know where Amy Hall is.
Back left, back row.
Bob Taylor says front, question mark, Tony Snyder Spencer, Heather
This-
Taylor Brown, back row, question mark, Holly Sluter, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, now I see Holly.
Jennifer Lytle Lewis says Stephanie Hall is the top right corner. So a lot of comments on it.
That's why I didn't hear him.
Don't have names on this one, but it's a little blurry.
Great challenge. Oh, remember this, Mike? The
Yeah.
tanning salon?
Yeah,
He went there every day.
I did every
mean,
day.
Yeah.
Top of my head.
Yeah.
That's Judy Beasley
Beasley.
McCumber, and on the right is Mark Maxey, Donna Maxey, I think, on the
Donna
right.
Walker.
Donna Walker, Donna Maxey, and in the middle is Beth Hunt,
Chris
Miss-
Hunt.
oh,
Beth Maggio,
Maggio. Yeah.
Chris. It's Chris.
Chris
isn't it?
Chris
Maggio,
Maggio.
Chris Hunt.
Works with Carl now.
Beth would be her sister-in-law.
Yes. Well, that's
Sonia
Sonia Reese.
Reese.
Sonia Reese on the left, coaching.
Sherry Hausman's third girl.
Third left is Sherry. On the left.
Lisa Alexander, she's second
Fourth,
back here.
and that she's
No,
fourth.
that's Kelly.
Fourth from the left.
Oh gosh. Kelly Young,
Hmm.
possibly.
So Eric Alexander tagged Marsha Lynn, which I think is that Marsha Carter.
Yes, it would be next to Sonia.
Julie Colbecker Little says Sherry Hausman Stewart, Lisa Alexander Haddon, Donna Dietrich tagged Tammy Bennett. Jennifer Bender tagged Julie Harris, says Lynette middle back row.
Boy.
Is that Bill coaching?
No,
That's Butler, isn't it?
Looks like Butler, Jeff Butler.
I think it's Butler. Steve Weimer on the far right. It's got a number 4 there.
That's
Think.
Dave Dietrich
That's
standing.
Dave Dietrich. Yeah.
That Kincaid.
No.
Well, these guys are younger than me.
Stinson is the manager with that Tuscola across his back.
What's this, the 88, 89 photo?
Jeff started coaching right in 80 is when he started coaching here, junior high.
43 to me looks a little like the youngest Kavanaugh boy. Can't be sure. Mark, maybe?
Can't be sure.
Can't be sure. Who's
Jeff Stinson is the manager.
okay. I didn't have any names on that one. I'm kind of surprised.
We win.
Yeah, you guys beat the internet.
No, I mean, we won the game.
Yeah. We won
Oh,
the
we
game.
won the game. Yeah, looks like it.
That looks like strike.
These are your kids.
No, I didn't coach them.
You're your
These
principal.
guys. No, I wasn't. No, I was I was teaching there.
What year did you become principal?
90. These guys are long before 90.
Well, this is not the Tuscola gym. That says Bronco country.
Yeah, boy.
This is probably taken in about 88, 87.
Before that, if that was Steve Weimer, that's before that. Graduated in 89, so this would be about mid 80s.
Right after Dave. Dave, you recognize him?
You'd be younger than me.
Well, I know, but when you were a senior, these guys were sophomores.
No, I don't recognize them.
Looks like they're Cerro Gordo High School.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one
looks like Jeff Leniger, but he
that's-
looks big.
well, I was going to say from the haircut and the build, it looks like Jeff Leniger to me, but but I can't be sure.
No one said anything.
Well,
Oh, Susan Harris is number 34. This is the old Newman gym. They're playing the Redskins. Look at that, Mike. The old
Oh, I
gym.
know.
yeah, Angie Berger says that's the old Newman High School gym. She was on that team in the picture.
Yeah,
Just saw Angie there today in the McDonald's line.
that might be. I remember this group.
Angie White.
This is Angie
Chuck
White.
Chuck White's daughter.
Might be Bates, Sandy Kobecker.
Yeah.
And the girl in the back.
In the back, yeah,
It looks.
you'll recognize her.
Yeah, if I get in close, Kelly Huser.
Kelly Huser.
Boy, she's a good ball player.
Angie's parents were Glenna and Chuck White. Bill and I played basketball and baseball against Chuck. Great guy. Glenna's a great gal.
Susan Harris, probably, and nothing to take away from Sandy Kobecker, was a heck of a ball player. Susan Harris was probably one of the best female athletes to ever come out of Tuscola. She was terrific in track and field. She came back and taught school math at East Prairie for me for a while, and went on to a very successful career up north. And just a wonderful person.
Just saw her not too long ago in at Monocle's.
Did you? Yeah. She's a heck of a ball player.
You recognize? I don't see Angie there.
I don't see Angie.
And okay, there's Jeff Leniger's dad, Dell, fourth from the left. Clarence Snyder's second.
Jack is his name.
Jack Leniger's fourth from the left.
Clarence Snyder.
Second from the left.
And between them is Bill Gower.
Bill Gower, yeah.
Second row is Hopkins.
Roy Hopkins. Crowder, Charles Crowder is.
Third one.
Third one.
Yeah.
In the back is Ralph Allen, back right. Oh, that's Arnhem Root. Second row, far right,
It
Arnhem
is
Root.
Mr. Root. Mr. Root was my neighbor.
Arnhem Root
That's Mark Sipes' grandfather.
used to run the cleaners.
Did you know he was president of the Tri-City Country Club one time?
Did not know that.
Yeah. My root.
I think Jack Lineker's moved up north to Marseille.
Marcel's.
Marseille,
think.
yeah. Last I knew.
Well, the French pronunciation is Marseille.
Part of
His
the Francais.
His son is a policeman over in Springfield.
Probably about ready to retire.
May be retired.
Uh-huh. Good baseball pitcher.
Sarah Gord again. You always hate to play those Broncos.
Number 50, who is Colby Decker.
Wouldn't be Colby
Honestly?
Decker. These guys are younger than Colby.
Well, Colby played grade school basketball.
Yeah,
But Colby's older than me. These guys are younger than me.
I mean, it kind of looks, look at that guy's like he's just released a shot. I can't tell. They're
David, I think this is these guys this photo might have been taken in what'd you say, 85?
well, now I'm not for sure. I can't tell who they are.
86?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Probably.
We
So
need some. I'm trying to get some more recent pictures, get some younger
Well,
people on remembering Tuscola to
That
contribute.
might be Weimer right there.
Yeah. Remember our senior year, we played Sarah Gorda. They had guys jump out of the gym. George Kegley, remember that?
Yeah. I was just talking to someone about that the other day.
Well, this looks like maybe Arthur. Grade school gym.
Arthur or Atwood.
Atwood, that's Atwood's high. That's Atwood's
Because
high
of that
school.
ceiling. Remember that ceiling?
Oh yeah, there's the stage. They were playing it over at Atwood. That's a high school game. I don't know who that is. That is
Two puppies.
somebody working volunteer out at the dog pound.
Do you have any names on the dogs?
No,
Hippie and Shep.
This is right downtown.
What are they striping?
I don't know. That looks like Danny
Crosswalk.
Cleland to me.
It's that crosswalk.
Save more crosswalk.
Yeah, they had a crosswalk there once upon a time.
Anybody ever obey it?
I did.
Is that when they parked both ways, you think?
I don't know.
Two-way street, now it's one way.
Yeah.
Is that the Western Wear building now?
I believe so. Is that, what's it say? Can't see it.
That Consort?
Hugh Riviera.
Yeah, blow in on that store right there. That could have been Weber's Electric. Weber repaired,
Yeah.
repair stuff there. Remember?
Is that Danny Cleland? I know he worked for the.
Well, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
Could be.
Possibly.
We got some small photos here.
Yeah, some of these pictures, for some reason, are smaller. So that didn't really look like Hop to me raising the flag, but Hop usually was.
They've moved that flagpole to the corner. That lot sold off.
Yeah.
Roger Warner on the far right.
Mitchner's on the far right.
That's Scott Mitchner. Mike Taylor on the far left. Tony Best. And then that's Washburn. No, Smith.
Mhm.
Tim Smith.
The
Yeah.
neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
Another picture, but this has the newspaper
might be
also office in
Shelby
the
Best.
background.
Shelby was older than Tony.
Shelby, yeah.
I'm gonna correct it. That might be Shelby Best.
And that might be,
Well,
Danny.
Eric Alexander says Tony.
I thought it was Tony.
Well, it looks like Tony. It really does. But these guys were like seniors when she was a freshman. But it looks like Tony.
That could be. And they're,
But they're athletic awards at the high school.
yeah. Yeah, Eric Alexander has Mike Taylor, Tony Best, Tim Smith, and Scott Minchner.
Okay. It's part of it's baseball, part of it's track. Tim and Tony are track. Scott.
Tim's a world famous
Well,
neurosurgeon.
Mhm. Mike's AD at Neoga.
Mhm.
Scott's in Indianapolis, I believe. Somewhere.
Tim ought to be in the Hall of Fame.
Tony's a doctor, chiropractor,
Dio.
something like that.
I think she's a physical therapist.
So that would have been Weber Electric there next to the newspaper office.
Yeah.
This is before the addition was built.
Hmm.
And
The empty theater lot.
empty
Where the
theater.
Strand used to be. The beloved Strand.
The last picture show.
Some of these were 35 millimeter. That's
Is he
maybe.
building, is that wood or is that fiberglass he's put over wood? I think it's a wood frame. He's put fiberglass over it.
Might be. Can't tell who it is.
I thought you might recognize the car.
Looks like a Model T radiator cap,
Mhm.
Model A or T. 58 Chevy in the back right here. So is that the tail light for 58 Chevy?
I don't know. We don't have any comments on that one.
That's you there, David.
What do you got in the background, David, for us to look at there? It looks like a
Another award.
No, it's just a little
dwarf.
cast iron banks. You put the penny in and it flips it into the barrel. My granddaughter gave me that for Christmas one year.
Well, Dave, you jump around years there, and Bill and I, our minds don't move as swift as they used to move.
Well, I thought maybe some of the more recent ones might be.
Well, Bill, that's anything above anything getting the 80s and 90s, that's Bill.
Most times I can identify some of them.
He was a teacher.
Yeah.
My job is just to go back in the 50s and 60s and try and find Bill inside a church.
The envelopes are 80, 85, 91, 83, and 86.
Wow. That was a test, Bill.
So
That
these
was-
ones from the 80, 86, 85, there's a good chance I may have taken some of those photos because I was working at the newspaper then. By 91, I had moved to Springfield.
Hmm.
That seemed like a couple years ago, doesn't it? I mean, I would think, to me, 91 is about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
I just stand amazed every time I think that now it's been 34 years ago when I started the principalship. That's just beyond me.
Well, it's a little depressing. I've got a big birthday coming up in December.
60?
60?
60.
Up.
I
Huh?
don't look 60, do I?
I swear last year he was about 58, 59.
Mm.
Well, do Bill and I look like we're 68, 69?
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 80, Mike.
I had a physical the other day. Doc said I'm in remarkable shape for a man of 97.
Yeah.
Not too good for 77.
It catches up to you.
David, it creeps up on you
Yeah.
before you know it. You're old and bald and you're doing podcasts.
Yeah.
I saw Bill Hill the other day, introduced him to my reporter, Ben, and I said, Bill, of course, hasn't changed in 40 years. and said, "Can you believe he's 83 years old?" I think he's I think he told me he's um 10 years older than my sister Sheila. Let's see, I'm 59. Sheila would be maybe 63. So that'd make Bill about 73.
That's about right.
He
I think.
walks probably a couple miles a day out here. He's out in
His
the yard.
license plate's got it.
He works in the yard every day. He's physical. He's a specimen.
That's
He
why I
doesn't
took
look-
my license plate off.
To me, he doesn't look any different than he did 40 years ago.
Yeah, no, he hasn't changed. He's healthy. Some people just have it. You can just tell it. They got plastic. They have plastic go through their blood in place of blood. Bill, you and I, we're just bone and gristle.
Well, we're just tough.
We're tough.
Yeah. We're tough.
We're wearing out.
We're back where the dinosaurs roamed.
Back where the dinosaurs roam, giants walk the earth.
Giants walked here.
Yeah.
Well, David, you mix them up like that, you're going to give us a headache trying to figure this out.
That was tough.
Huh. Well, what year do you want?
Well, if you just stick at 65, 66, we'll be fine.
Well, we gotta figure there's all kinds of people watching.
Well, nobody that counts.
I gotta give them a little variety.
Somebody wrote a book one time. Did life end after 1965 graduation? You know? Yeah, no, I think we haven't even got up in the 90s, and the 90s are vintage now. 25 years is vintage, so the 90s are vintage.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, like I said, David, it just slips by a little too fast.
but it's amazing that Bill and I, our memory, our eyesight, our recognition facility, our ability to name everybody is just unparalleled. It's just-
Unparalleled.
It's
When
astounding.
you make up the names.
Well, yeah, well, what would you do? I would be good in a debate.
Go down that rabbit hole.
Just say anything, right?
Yeah, well, anything goes.
Just say anything. Got to win.
Anything to win.
What could we debate sometime? That might be a change of pace.
A debate?
Yeah, if we had a debate,
Yeah,
David.
that's a good
could
idea.
moderate. That might be fun.
Well, don't trick me into going down rabbit holes.
You guys can take whatever position you take, I'll take the opposite.
Well,
Whether I believe it or not.
David, what's different about that between you and I?
But except usually when we debate, you're putting words in my mouth. So,
I try.
yeah.
I try.
He's pretty good at it, David.
And he's pretty good at using dismissive language.
Becky always says, I look at Becky and says, don't you agree? This is the TV show we ought to watch tonight. She goes, you phrase that like I'm an idiot if I say no. I said, well, so what's wrong with that? Don't you agree with that, David?
I agree with whatever you say, Mike.
Just to get him to shut up.
It's easier. Just easier that way.
Oh, you've never backed down from me in your life. Never.
That's true. I
It's
do
not in your nature. It's not in your nature.
Not in my DNA.
Not in your nature.
You have more fun that way.
Yeah, arguing actually is a good way to, I think, prevent Alzheimer's disease.
Well,
Keep your mind sharp.
yeah,
Looking for,
do a podcast.
do a podcast keeps your mind sharp. We
Makes
do,
you
we do
think.
mental exercises before you come on.
It
Mhm.
was, that's
You
just,
count backwards from 1,000 by sevens.
just the way I grew up. In my household growing up, it was always stressed. You never start a fight, but by God, you finish one.
I bet you had to be, if you wanted to eat, if you wanted to get the good piece of chicken, you better be aggressive and
Well, I was the smallest one in my family, and so I had to be quick.
yeah, I mean, who got the
I-
breast and who got the back?
There's 8 people in the
got
family,
11.
and I remember one time we had 8 people. Mom made 7 pork chops. And 2 I had were delicious.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can honestly say I've never missed a meal, so yeah.
Well, I remember, I get my independent thinking from my dad. I remember he, uh, he's always subscribed to National Geographic, and he got interested in astronomy at one point, and he got a telescope, and he'd look out at the stars, and he'd read his National Geographics, and he'd watch programs on it, and read encyclopedias, and so one time he talked to me about the Big Bang Theory, and he went on for an hour and a half explaining what all the different scientists say, what their theories are, and piecing them together. And then after an hour and a half, he says, "But they're wrong, and here's why." and he went on for another hour and a half with his own theories.
So I know that's where he got it. I got to tell you about one astronomy story. I was hooked on astronomy I was going to law school living in Garden Hills. And I think for Christmas, I got a telescope, a really powerful one. And then I got a 5X converter and then a 2X converter on top of that. This thing you could watch, you could see mice running on the surface of the moon.
Right.
But one night I set it all up and I'm checking it out. And across the street, big picture window, there's a family there. So I zero in, and I just want to see what it's like. And I get it zero in. I said, what in the world? It looks like a guy's upside down with his hair sticking out and there's brush going, I had the guy's nose and top of his mustache right here. And I was looking at the hairs hanging out of his nose.
I think they call those people like that peeping Toms.
Well, it was not a positive experience. I wasn't trying to see anything to
Just
stimulate
very,
me.
Very powerful.
I just seen how powerful it was. I could see your nose hairs from 100 feet. Well, I got to practice. We fell below 95%. We're down about 91%.
Well, look at the pictures, those church pictures of wherever.
Find out where that church is, David. Does anybody know?
Yeah, no one has commented. So I think you guys still beat the internet. So you're still rolling.
I'm glad.
The
That
ones
made
you
my
didn't,
day.
the ones you didn't know, nobody knows.
Yeah, the unknown unknowns.
We hit it pretty hard. We study all week.
We do. We go through yearbooks and old newspapers. We're down there at the back of the journal, reading the old newspapers. What we ought to do is get on Facebook and look at them and look at what Bob Taylor and Michener say. They know.
Yeah,
Michener's
Bob's pretty good. Michener's pretty good.
Michener,
Yeah,
well,
they're
Michener,
good.
they got the oldest business in the history of Tuscola. Michener will know everybody.
Michener ought to know everyone.
He and his dad knew everybody in Tuscola.
Yeah, when your dad grew up here, I mean,
Yeah.
these characters.
Missed the characters.
We miss the characters. Mike and I miss the characters.
Yeah. So
Well,
we've tried to become them.
I was going to say that's because you guys now are
All the characters.
You don't recognize it in yourself.
Well, if we told you about some of the characters, you'd say we're falling short. We're not carrying the tradition. I mean,
You remember, I was going to say today on that honor guard, I didn't see Bill Trout there. Remember Hooks? And he used to be in the firing squad.
we shot pool with a guy named Bill, but he never lost him in the service.
We've talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
it before,
Yeah.
back in the 80s, some of those characters, they were larger than life. Bill Huber and Bill McCarty,
Jake Hill,
larger than life.
Hooter Weitzel.
Dietrich was well known. Denny was a fixture in the community. Who else? Who are we leaving off?
Well, Bill and I want to go back into the 50s and 60s with Frank Bellis.
Yeah.
We want to go into a guy that
Grover
Dick. Who was it? Was it Bellis that Mel's drive-in drove his truck up through the glass window and hit the counter? Jumped out and sat down, ordered a coffee while his truck was still running. Who set the paper on fire? Some businessman's reading the paper.
That was Bellis.
Some guy's reading the paper at Mel's and he set the paper on fire in the middle. The guy's waving two burning pieces of paper. We're talking about characters.
Yeah.
that they didn't care. My dad was a character. We would go outside to the car. I was a real young boy, and across the street was Emma Maris. Remember Walter and Emma?
Mhm.
And Emma had the blinds up. Like when the blinds went up like that, Dad just took his belt off and dropped his pants down to his knees, and the blinds would snap shut. And I said, "Dad," he said, "Well, she wanted to peek." So that's that. When we say character, we're talking
And by
about
the way, Homer was a character.
we're talking about Homer Carroll.
We
I gave-
had Chief.
I gave we bought some trees down in Indiana one time, the golden rain tree. Hope they'd live up here. I gave Dad one about 15 foot high. He put them on the trunk, he put them on the hood of his Maverick and drove home. And Bill Rogers, the sheriff, said he was sitting down there on Niles. He saw a big tree coming down the road over the tracks, walking down the tracks on Dad's hood,
Yeah. Oh.
We
Yeah,
had
Dad-
Chief
Dad-
AJ. He was a character.
Now, Chief AJ was a character. I agree.
And,
Yeah, that's a character.
we had Comanche Bill. He was a character.
Yeah, I was
We had young guys who were characters.
I prosecuted Comanche Bill's brother John Campbell for murder of
Oh, that was
Elder.
Elder over in Chesterville.
and that got Comanche to come back to defend his brother.
Hmm.
And I remember I was sitting in the courthouse. I was state attorney. I was sitting in the stalls, which didn't have any locks. And Comanche Bill just opened the door and charged into the stall, yelling at me. I put my right foot up and kicked him, and he slid all the way across the floor. And I got up and I said, "Don't you ever do that again." So he left. I sent him down to Darrell Price's, who was a public defender. And I guess the police were called because he was beating on Darrell's door. So I went to the county board and I said, "I want locks on those stalls." They said, "What's wrong?" I said, "A guy barged in there." He said, "Well, you handled it." I said, I don't want to have to handle it. Put locks on the. So the one thing I got done in the county was I got latches on the toilet doors. So I got that going for me, David.
There you go. That's your
was-
legacy.
That was.
Mike
Comanche
got
Bill,
latches on bathroom stalls.
because
That's-
Comanche Bill charged in on top of me. That's embarrassing when a guy charged in on top of you. You're
Oh,
not
sure.
prepared.
Yeah, you're not prepared.
You're not fully dressed.
No.
You're not fully dressed. You're
Not fair.
not fair. Not fair. Unfair. It's a tough job, David.
I'm going to leave it alone.
Don't touch it, David.
I definitely will not touch it.
Okay, David, listen, you get us some good pictures next week. We'll still see if we can beat the bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'll try and keep building the game as long as I can.
Thank you. Appreciate the help.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week on Remembering Tuscola.